What is psychological safety at workplace? Firstly, let me just present my screen 1 second. Okay. Can you all see my screen? Please, if yes, please say. Anyone?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So today's topic is psychological safety at workplace, creating environments where people feel safe to speak, learn, and grow. So I am Yashita Chabra. As you guys know, I'm a counseling psychologist. And according to you, what is psychological safety? If anybody can tell me, if anybody is ready to speak up. Anyone?
Basically, having a healthier work life balance and
Okay.
being satisfied with what you do is something that we start with, I think.
Okay. Anybody else? Let's make this session interactive, guys. Come on. Anybody? What is psychological safety according to you at workplace? No one? Okay. So let me ask another question. Have you ever questioned your boss's decision in your own mind, but felt it was safer to not just say anything out loud? Have you guys done that? Come on, you guys must have. Anybody? Hello, guys.
I think every day.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, unfortunately, far too many, places have culture where that sentiment is common. Okay. And it can result in mistakes that should have been prevented and lost opportunities and overall lack of new and original ideas. Basically, that is psychological safety, where there's a shared belief that you can take interpersonal risks, that you can speak up. Okay. Psychological safety, those unfamiliar with the term often think about protecting workers' mental health or protecting workers from psychological harm to ensure a psychological healthy workplace. But it's more than that. It's a shared belief that they can take appropriate risks, and they can and they should. Firstly, admit and discuss their mistakes. You know, Even if we've made a mistake, even if we're leaders in an organization, managers, or at any position, we should not be afraid to admit and discuss our mistakes. That's how we learn, right? So, the first thing that you should, be not scared of admitting and discussing your mistakes. Secondly, openly address problems and tough issues. If there is something, you think that it should be discussed openly, just say it. You should not be afraid that what will the other person judge What will he say? What will he think about you? No, if you have a question, if you have a tough situation to discuss about, openly talk about it. Then seek help and feedback. In an or when you're working in an organization, feedbacks are must. What are you doing? Continuous feedbacks are must. What, how is everything going on? So keep getting feedbacks. Then trust that no one on the team is out to get you. No one is, no one should be bothered to even, pick on you, to get you, to be behind your back. Then trust that they are a valued member of the team. You are a valued member of the team. You should have that much of confidence that I'm a valued member of a team. I should not be afraid of being here. All right. Anybody, agreeing on this, please? What do you think now psychological safety is? I can't really see your faces because the presentation is on the screen. So please speak up. Nobody? Okay. So, psychological safety is a shared belief that the team is safe for interpersonal risk taking. This is coined by Amy Edmondson, who's from Harvard Business School. In simple terms, it means employees feel safe to express opinions, admit mistakes, or ask for help without the fear of humiliation, punishment, or rejection. It's not about being nice all the time. It's about candor, trust, and respect. That you respect your team member, that you're creating that safe space for them to speak. All right. Why does it matter? Why does psychological safety matter according to you? Anybody?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, why does psychological safety matter according to you at a workplace?
Um,
Sorry?
so that maybe everybody could be satisfied with their work and
Mm-hmm.
would like to go to work every day, have a
Okay.
healthier work life balance as well. It
Okay.
probably adds to the list. Yeah, on top of the
Yes,
head.
definitely. Anyone else? Everybody must be
I
working in
think
an
it can
organization.
also
Yeah.
be related to how much we put into our work. If we are
Sorry, can you say that again?
psychological safety, I mean, somewhere I think it relates to. I think it's somewhere is also to do with how much we. I mean, we are how much we are satisfied with our work, and thereby how much we are putting into it due to that level of satisfaction, I think.
Yes, definitely. So, in order for workplace to thrive, survive, and push the needle forward, employees must feel safe and included. Creating psychological safety is a key part of an organization. If it's done properly, it enables you to set fair expectations and in turn get the best from your people. For performance, teams with high psychological safety perform better under pressure, right? If you have psychological safety, if you can speak up, if you can share your opinions, you will perform better under pressure. It's not like, you're because you're afraid to speak up, you'll be like, no, let's not speak on this issue. What if, the boss tells me, you shouldn't speak, or maybe the boss ignores me? What if? Then you lack in your performance. So, with psychological safety, you perform better. You're speaking up, you're giving, ideas, you're performing better. Then there's innovation in wherein encourages creative risk taking and new ideas. You will brainstorm to impress your boss. You will brainstorm every good idea. You will work harder because you're liking your space, because it is psychologically safe. I'll go and present the idea in front of my boss or my manager or whoever is senior to me, and whatever critics they will give, I'll take it and improve on it. That is innovation. You are taking that creative risk. Then there's engagement, build stronger commitment and morale. Then there's mental health, where the anxiety is reduced. There's less stress and there's less burnout. Then there's retention. Employees are less likely to quit their workplaces. That is why psychological safety matters the most. So here, you know, I have an example. So Amy Edmondson, like I mentioned, from she was a Harvard professor. In 2003, she highlighted that the NASA space shuttle Columbia disintegrated on re-entry to the Earth's atmosphere, resulting in 7 fatalities. Weeks prior to the disaster, one employee did have concerns related to all of this. But he was not able to speak up because he was a junior employee. He was new to the whole NASA space shuttle organization. So he couldn't speak up. What if I'm wrong? What if they don't agree? What if this? What if that? He had a lot of what ifs. So he did not feel the need to speak up because he was too junior. So this tragedy led to formation of the NASA safety culture program. That is how NASA brought up this safety culture program. Hence, psychological safety matters, where you can speak up your opinion, where you feel satisfied with what you're doing and just speak. And this is a very basic thing that we need to also inculcate in our organization. If we are in a leader position, what we tend to do is we give feedbacks once a year, we get reviews once a year, we give reviews once a year. But what we should do is get feedback culture, where we're giving in some time, we just give our employees some feedbacks, some critics, in a very nice way, not in a very like, you can't even do this, please do it this way. You can't do that. You just present it in a nice way. Even the employee should feel safe. Yeah, I can speak up here. Okay. Now, the 4 stages of psychological safety. According to the organizational anthropologist Timothy Clark, there are 4 stages of psychological safety. This is a proposed model which builds a baseline of trust across a company, gradually creating a safe workplace where employees feel the able to challenge the ideas of others. Now, let's see how these four stages are. The first stages, as you can see, inclusion safety. It focuses on fostering a sense of belongingness, regardless of factors like gender, race, religion, and age. If employees are afraid of being discriminative against because of certain aspects of their identity, they won't perform at their best. A strong diversity and inclusion initiative should be the first step in building psychological safety. What do you think here is being told? Anybody? What does inclusion safety is trying to say? Anyone?
Could you repeat it one more time?
Yeah. So what do you think inclusion safety here is trying to say? That like what does inclusion safety according to you here is? Whatever I said. Do you want me to repeat what I said in inclusion safety?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So it focuses on fostering a sense of belongingness, regardless of factors like gender, race, religion, and age. If employees are afraid of being discriminated against because of certain aspects of their identity, they won't perform at their best. What do you think here is being said?
I think it's related to the basic inclusivity concept in a workplace that if I tomorrow go to my workplace and I feel like, well, I'm not welcomed here due to the way I look or due to my background, I would refrain from speaking up even for a normal and everyday thing, let alone the thought about making something different or better in the workplace, if that makes sense.
Yes, exactly the point here.
I
Yeah.
I also think that maybe inclusion, like uh, I think Shlok said about the sense of belongingness at a
Hmm.
workplace that makes a person feel valued and like they're a member of the same organization or company or wherever or whatever place they work at. So that's having the sense of belongingness is what I think inclusion safety means.
Definitely. Definitely. So here, the first step in building psychological safety should be inclusion. You should feel, you should be feeling included in the organization. You should be feeling valued at the organization. That my opinions are valued. I am being included in every aspect here. No matter the religion I'm from, no matter the gender I'm from, no matter, the age I have, no matter the experience I have, I am being valued here. Now we come to learner safety. Providing employees with the space to make mistakes and learn from them is a key part of promoting an environment of psychological safety. In order to learn, individuals must be able to ask questions, give and receive feedback, and get things wrong without the threat of negative consequences. In learner safety, one should be able to make mistakes without the fear of, we shouldn't make any mistake. There shouldn't be any mistake. I should be perfect. Nobody is perfect. We are humans. Humans make mistakes and then learn from them. So we should be able to make mistakes, learn from them. That is the key part of promoting an environment of psychological safety. We should, as I said earlier, we should give and receive feedbacks. We should get good criticisms, that here, here you're wrong, you can make this right in this way. That is how we give and receive feedbacks. So this is learner safety. Any questions regarding this? I don't think so. Okay. Next, we come to contributor safety. When an individual feels they can learn without the fear of negative judgment, they may be more inclined to participate in dialogues at the workplace. Whenever there's a meeting, there's some issue, and supposedly I am at a level where maybe I'm an intern and there's a meeting going on and they've included me also, that you should also sit and maybe make notes or something like that. And they're discussing about a very crucial topic, and I have something to contribute. Unless and until I don't feel safe, how will I contribute? So I should feel safe to contribute in the meeting, to speak up that, this issue, what if we do this and this can be resolved this way? So you should be feeling safe. Typically, contributor safety occurs when an individual rises to the occasion in their role in an active team member and performs at a certain level. Okay. Now, any question related to contributor safety? Okay. Now we come to challenger safety. What do you think would be challenger safety? Anybody make a wild guess?
The threat of being let down if I kind of speak against someone who's in a superior position to me.
Okay, that was a good answer. Anyone else? Anybody?
Maybe basically um, being able to come up with new ideas at workplace and upskilling themselves again without the fear of being judged.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
something that came to me.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. I'll say this is the final stage of psychological safety. You know, once employees have been given the freedom to learn from their mistakes, contribute to discussions openly, they can now, they can challenge each other's ideas. By encouraging people to question this, status quo in a respectful way, you enable a culture of constructive feedback. You're giving an opinion, and I say, say something, like, okay, what if this happens? What if I challenge your idea then? You should be, you should be feeling safe to challenge each other ideas. This is not how you do it. This is how you do it. What I am saying, this is how you do it. So I am challenging your idea here. I should be feeling safe enough to do that. So that is challenger safety. Any questions here? You know, here you enable a culture of constructive feedback. Any questions in any of the stages of psychological safety? Okay, so here, let's go ahead. Now, psychological safety versus comfort zone. Well, people really think that they really get confused with psychological safety and comfort zone. Now that you know the meaning of psychological safety, what do you think would be the difference of psychological between psychological safety and comfort zone? Can anybody speak on that? I need somebody else also, please.
Psychological safety and comfort zone. Uh, I think it would be like, for example, the man you spoke about, that space example that you
Hmm.
gave.
Hmm.
The man chose not to speak because he was comfortable doing that.
Hmm.
So being in a comfortable state that is like is familiar to you, the familiar feeling of safety.
Hmm.
So maybe not speaking up so that अगर मैंने अभी यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं मैंने मेरे मैनेजर को कुछ नहीं बोला तो वो मुझे कुछ बोलेगा नहीं and I'm right now I'm at a safer stage. So that is my
Okay.
comfort zone. I'm in my comfort zone for not speaking up. Maybe like that, something like that.
Yes. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay. So basically, psychological safety is commonly confused with comfort zone. Comfort is the absence of a challenge or tension, a state where we firmly stay within our habitual behaviors and established patterns. What the other person said here, sorry, I can't see the names. If you could speak up your name, the girl who just spoke.
Sorry, what?
Can you please tell me your name? I
Rhythm.
sorry, I can't see the screen. Okay.
Rhythm.
Okay. So as Rhythm said, the guy in the NASA space shuttle was in his comfort zone. That is why he did not speak up. Well, that is what your comfort means. It is the absence of a challenge or tension, a state where we firmly stay within our habitual behaviors and established patterns. Whereas psychological safety is the foundation that enables you to take risk, uh, be vulnerable, grow, and growth does not come with, comfort zone. Here, psychological safety encourages learning and accountability, whereas comfort zone is, you avoid conflict or you avoid taking risks. Then psychological safety has constructive feedback, they welcome it. Whereas comfort zone, feedback is avoided. Psychological safety, mistakes is equal to growth outcome. You want to grow, you want to step out of the comfort zone. Whereas comfort zone in that mistakes is equal to embarrassment. You're embarrassed by making mistakes. In psychological safety, productive discomfort is allowed. You you go out of the comfort zone, you do something productive. That is what psychological safety is, that you will make mistakes, but it'll be productive mistake. It'll not be like an embarrassment for you. Okay, I am working in an organization, and related to that I am making a mistake. That is how I'll grow, because I did not know what to do. I was just doing it for my own growth. So I am allowed to make mistakes to so that my growth is there. But in comfort zone, it is artificial harmony. right? So here I would like to, coin the psychological safety's definition: a shared belief that one will not be punished or humiliated for speaking up with ideas, questions, or concerns or mistakes. Notice that nowhere it is mentioned or suggested the absence of discomfort. There will be discomfort if you want to grow. So, do not mix up psychological safety with comfort zone. In comfort zone, you will be, in your own comfortable area where you've set patterns, your boundaries, you won't step out of them. You will avoid all the risk taking, all the conflicts, all the feedbacks, all the mistakes. You will avoid them. But in psychological safety, you will welcome all of these things. You will learn. You will be accountable. You will have, constructive feedback. You will welcome it all. Any questions, any opinions, anything you want to speak on this? No one? All right. Now we come to barriers to psychological safety. What, what things are there which stop us from getting to the point of psychological safety? First is fear of judgment, where employees really hesitate, to speak up because they fear being mocked, dismissed, or seen as not competent enough. Do you think that is there? Have you also faced this kind of a barrier in your organization where you are really hesitating to speak up because you feel that you'll be mocked, you'll be dismissed with your opinion, or you'll be seen as not competent enough? Do you feel that this happens in your organization? Anyone?
Yes, once in a while, sure.
Yeah. Then, admitting to mistakes becomes really risky. What if, he really judges boss really judges me for the mistakes I've made? What if the mistake is really silly? What if no one makes these kind of mistakes? And what if this happens? What if that happens? That kind of fear of judgment. So the issues stay hidden, or you kind of try to just stay hidden with your mistakes, and those mistakes are never out. So, for example, a team member avoids sharing an idea during brainstorming because previous suggestion was ridiculed. Maybe you have uh, a great innovative creative idea you've shared with the fellow employee also, but you're not able to share it with your supervisor, your boss slash manager, because they avoided or maybe ridiculed your previous suggestion. That can be there, and it was badly ridiculed. So you just stay mum. Let's not speak anything here. That is one barrier to psychological safety. That is fear of judgment. Now we come to power distance and hierarchy. What does that mean now? Seniority is often equated with unquestionable authority, making employees afraid to disagree or challenge decisions. The boss has said something which you think is, questionable, but you can't question it because he's your boss. You're afraid to disagree or challenge, your boss's idea. That is because he's at a higher position, right? Then junior employees feel I should not speak unless asked. Or what if my boss thinks I'm disrespectful? Sharing your opinion feels disrespectful. So, that is another barrier to psychological safety. Here, I would like to give an example where an intern notices a major error. Okay, a major error is happening, like what happened in NASA space shuttle. That man noticed a concern, an error, which could have saved those 7 fatalities. But he's just an intern there. He's just a junior employee. So he stays silent. That is a barrier to psychological safety. Then, lack of feedback culture. We come to lack of feedback culture. Organizations may focus, on once a year feedbacks, constructive, or reviews instead of continuous constructive feedbacks. Every once in a while, you just give a feedback, okay, you should not do this, you should do this. But many organizations do their reviews only once a year instead of continuous constructive feedbacks. Employees receive criticism only when something goes wrong. Oh, this was actually a wrong thing that I did, but no one notices what the right thing I'm doing. And no one appreciates me for that. Only is, correcting my mistakes, nothing else. Whatever wrong thing I'm doing. So, a fear is created around feedbacks. Whenever the manager, the supervisor, the boss calls you in their office to give you a feedback, or, whenever a project report has gone to the office, the boss's cubicle, you are, your anxiety is here at the peak level. What will he do? What will the boss do? What will be the feedback? I'm really scared. What if I've made this mistake? What if I've made that mistake? Even though you've submitted way prior, mistakes happen. It's okay. Even if you have made a mistake, but there is so much of fear that your anxiety is here, right? So that is lack of feedback culture. Leaders also may not know how to give non-threatening feedbacks. Leaders don't even know how to give feedbacks which are non-threatening, which are, normal. Okay, this is why did you do this? You shouldn't have done that. This is wrong. And they start shouting at you. What kind of work are you doing here? You haven't even learned this much in these many months, or maybe, these many few weeks. But what they should have done is, you know, this is wrong. Maybe you can correct it this way. That is a much better way. Don't you think? So, whenever they give, those threatening feedbacks, you're like, the employee is really defensive. I was going to do that only, but I thought you wanted this. And they get really defensive with that. And it creates fear. Now we come to punitive management styles. When leaders react with anger, punishment, or harsh criticism. Employees learn to stay quiet. Employees just learn to stay quiet because the leaders they react with anger, punishment, or harsh criticisms. Boss is going to be really angry now. Let's just stay silent. It's okay. Let him speak. It is like shoot the messenger culture. People fear reporting to problems. Like in the NASA space shuttle thing happened. He feared, so he stayed silent. Because what if they blame me? Right? What if they just blame me? Example, a manager reprimands employees for raising issues during meetings, resulting in silence even when crucial risks exist. Guys, just 1 second. Just 1 second. Okay. Can you see the screen now? Okay. All right. All right. So we were on punitive management styles. Did you get what punitive management style is? Anybody questions? Okay. So let's go with discrimination or bias. Employees from marginalized or minority backgrounds may feel they are judged or dismissed more quickly. Like I said, uh, there's less inclusion, and because of there's a lot of discrimination or bias against maybe you're an intern. That is why maybe because of gender, some caste, there's junior staff. That is why you're discriminated and your opinions are dismissed. That is discrimination or biased. Now we go to how to build psychological safety. Okay. Firstly, leaders are a really crucial part in an organization. Agreed?
Yes.
Yes. If leaders start admitting their own mistakes, everyone will start agreeing, admitting to their own mistakes. And making mistakes will be normal. Agreed? Okay. So, and then if leaders start to ask for input, what am I missing here? Can you please suggest what am I doing here? Doing wrong. If I, you should speak up if I am doing something wrong. So, leaders should ask for input more. Then they should show vulnerability. For example, what if I am doing something wrong here? What if I am, I don't feel good what about this? What do you think? Here, the leader is being open to you. The leaders, the leader is showing vulnerability to you. The leader is trying to ask you a lot of things because he feels really stuck. So that is how leaders set this, set the tone. So admitting their own mistakes, asking for inputs to their junior employees or junior staff, and show vulnerability and openness. Now, encourage more open communication, being free with your employees. There should be regular feedback meetings. You know, you're doing this wrong. You should do this in this way. What do you think? So that is how you encourage the employee. Okay, this is, uh, instead of this, you should do this. What do you think? That way. And maybe anonymous idea boxes where uh, the employees put in ideas without giving their names. That is how you encourage open communication, put open forums. Swiggy, as you all know, Swiggy is really famous online apps where you deliver, where you order food. These guys, it's an Indian startup. So these guys, what they've done is they've actually put in anonymous idea boxes. They've they have this open forums where the boss is also there, and they like they put in issues. Okay, this is the issue. Now everybody, I want everybody to speak, from junior staff, from the junior most staffs like interns to the senior most staffs is there in the meeting. And they put issues out there and they're like, okay, I need opinions. We're stuck here. And they have, open mics where they have fun, where the boss is also there. That is how you encourage open communication. Now, also reward, speaking up, publicly appreciate the person who is challenging your idea. There's in Toyota, everybody must have heard Toyota company, right? It's a Japan based company where they produce cars, I believe. Everybody, okay, I am guessing everybody's heard. So they, in that one day, a person literally stopped the line production. He literally pressed the button and stopped the line production, and he was just like, okay, this little, I am forgetting the product name, but yeah, this little product is going wrong. We need to make it right. And instead of correct, instead of blaming the person for, stopping the production line, the boss said, I am really happy that you stopped the production. You made the customer happy. That is how he publicly rewarded speaking up, publicly appreciated the one who questioned the line of production, the one who questioned the boss, but he made the customer happy. Right? He was right. The boss is right. I'm really happy. I'm really glad that you stopped the production line. You made a customer happy. And customers are really important. So, to, create ideas, new ideas, you should reward uh, people speaking up publicly. If you can, if you can criticize them publicly, you should know how to reward them also publicly. You should know how to appreciate also publicly. Now, train your managers. Everybody has this one manager in the office who is like, who you don't like, actually. Everybody raise hands who have that. Everybody put a thumbs up, put a reaction to it. Please. If you have that kind of a person, a manager, yeah. So we need managers to be trained on empathy, to listen to us, you know, in and give non-defensive responses. If I want a holiday, which is a genuine one, if somebody, I have an issue and I'm presenting it to the managers, I want the manager to be empathetic, to listen to me and give a solution. If he can't, give what I ask for, he can at least be empathetic towards it. He can at least listen to me. That, sorry, Ashita, I know you're going through this, and I'm really sorry that you're going through this. But right now, we really need you. I am so sorry about this. Or maybe, we can do something later about it. And I really, if you compromise a little, we would also compromise a little afterwards. And I will promise you this. So maybe really be empathetic towards the employees. So we want the managers to be trained like that, so that we don't start hating our managers, but we actually speak up what we are going through. We can also be vulnerable. We can show our vulnerability in front of the managers, in front of the superiors, in front of our bosses. Am I right here? All right. Now, create inclusion policies. Let us start promoting gender, cultural, and neurodiversity acceptances. You know, I heard about this company called Wipro. They started this culture called Wipro Pride, where they promote, gender inclusivity, cultural inclusivity, and, the LGBTQ plus inclusivity, basically, where every kind of gender is being promoted, heard, and, they are allowed to share their opinions. They're safe, not just allowed, they're safe to share their opinions. They are being valued, they are being heard. So that is what I liked about this company called Wipro. So They also created this policy which is called as inclusion policy, where they promoted gender, cultural, and neurodiversity acceptance. Now we come to global examples. So there was this project Aristotle in USA. Researchers studied 180 teams and found that teams where members felt safe speaking up even if ideas were imperfect. They outperformed others. If everybody is allowed to share their opinions, somebody will be there whose opinion is actually valid. Somebody or the other in the organization will have something really productive to say. And that is how our workplace is outperformed. So this is what one of in the USA, one of the researchers actually performed this research where he conducted this survey on 180 teams, and he saw wherever opinions are heard, wherever opinions are valued, they are outperforming others. This led to Google's internal uh, training on conversational turn taking and active listening. Google actually started this where conversations are being turned, like are being heard, and they're actively listening to everybody's opinion. Okay, now, as I said about Toyota, a new worker had come, in the Toyota plant, and he stopped the line because he noticed a slight so this is the product misalignment in a door panel. Instead of criticism, the superior thanked him and said, "Good catch. You protected the customer. You made a customer happy." This reinforced the belief that speaking up is doing the right thing actually. If you can speak up, you are actually doing the right thing. What if you have something that really benefits us, the organization? So Toyota actually started this thing where they are promoting stop the line if you see something going wrong. They promote stop the line, where they empower every single employee with the authority to stop the production line the moment they spot an issue. So that is what Toyota has promoted after they saw this situation happening. Now we talk about Tata Group, which is an which is an Indian based company. It promotes trust based culture in employees who are encouraged to voice ethical concerns through the Tata Code of Conduct channels. Now, the Tata is actually, known for the transparent communication and integrity based decision making. They have this thing, whatever if there is an ethical issue, speak up, be transparent with whatever you have an open communication. You have a code of conduct channel. Through that you can actually speak up whatever the issue is. So these places actually promote psychological safety at workplace, which you know make you go there, which make you work there, which does not make you quit the organization, and they're really famous for it. These are there are a lot of more examples like this, and they're doing really great with their psychological safeties. Now we come to Zerodha and Swiggy. Like I said about Swiggy, No, so startups like Zerodha and Swiggy, they encourage open mic or, ask me anything sessions. They have open mics where, you can do anything. You can sing, dance, recite a poetry, or maybe, report an issue. It's an open mic. You can do anything. And everybody, including the bosses, will sit there and listen to your opinions or whatever you have to say, whatever you have to do. Even the critical questions you can ask there. So they provide psychological safety so that they can grow together. You can grow individually and you can grow together as an organization. Now, there are a few case studies also where, first is the healthcare team in USA. In a Harvard research, again by Edmondson, in 1999, teams in hospitals' ICUs that reported more errors were initially seen as performing worse. Now, in ICUs, you cannot perform bad or worse. So, what they found out was they weren't making more errors. They were, you know, uh, not willing to speak about it, about those issues, those errors, or whatever was happening there. Now, as soon as the research got there, the outcome was high psychological safety led to learning, error correction, and better patient outcome. So that was the healthcare team case study, which Edmondson had conducted in 1999. Now, everybody must know Microsoft, Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Word, right? So when Satya Nadella had become the CEO in 2014, Microsoft had a very rigid, competitive, know it all culture. We know everything. We are rigid. We are competitive. But after he had come, he introduced learn it all culture, learn it all mindset, encouraging vulnerability and curiosity, where people are allowed to ask questions if they don't know anything. And if they don't know anything, there is nothing embarrassing about it. It is actually considered to be good. If you don't know anything, you ask. If you've made a mistake, you ask. You don't have to know everything. You're not God. Right? The outcome of this action was employee engagement, innovation, collaboration. It skyrocketed, transforming Microsoft's global image. They actually, became more open to everything. They actually transformed. They innovated a lot of things. They had meetings continuously. They had feedback, reviews where are we going wrong? What do you think is happening? Everything they were asked, they were heard, they answered everything. So that is how Microsoft is actually one of the best companies today globally. Now, again, we talk about Indian startups like Swiggy introducing listening circles. It happened during COVID-19 layoffs and uncertainty. You know, COVID-19 got a lot of uncertainty and what a lot of layoffs in the people. So they had gotten this thing called listening circles. Employees here then could anonymously voice fears or criticisms about management decisions. Tell me what is going wrong. Tell me what is the management actually speaking wrong. Tell me what are your fears. It does not necessarily have to, you don't have to necessarily tell me your name. You can just put it in the box anonymously. That is how they promoted open communication. Leaders in the outcome address these concerns openly. Okay, this, this was put in the box. This is the concern. And let's talk about it, which in turn minimized emotional fallout and preserved trust. In an organization, the most important thing is trust. In any relationship, the most important thing is you trust the other person. You trust wherever you're working. So that is how you build the relationship. So leaders had actually built and preserved the trust they had earned. Now let's talk about Infosys. You must have heard about Infosys company also, which is really famous. Now, Infosys created platform allowing employees to share concerns, ideas, or ethical issues anonymously. Again, this technique is really famous, where people are allowing the employees to anonymously present their criticisms, their ideas, whatever they feel is wrong, or whatever their vulnerable opinions are, or whatever their vulnerability is, which in turn improved transparency, reduced fear of authority, and created a channel for upward feedback. This also helped leadership identify and resolve systemic issues before they became a crisis. If you want to grow, if you want your organization to grow, if you're the leader, if you're the boss, if you're the CEO of a company, you obviously want your organization to grow, and you want to protect your organization, and you want your organization to be the on the first, or maybe in the top 10. You have to create a safe space for your employees, where they are being heard, where you have to create that transparency, you have to create that trust within the organization, within the employees, so that you don't, in turn become a crisis. If there won't be any employees, how will you work? So that is what Infosys had actually created, a transparency, uh, which in turn reduced fear of authority. Of course, you are at an authority position, but the person below you is not actually, it should be they should be they should feel valued, they should feel heard. I am being heard, I am being valued here, I should stay. That is how your organization will grow. Now, what is the role of a mental health professional in an organization? A mental health professional like me, a psychologist, will conduct workplace assessments, where a psychologist will help organization understand the current level of psychological safety, through, you can say, employee surveys. I will conduct surveys, I will, and interviews with employees, and see, understand their, mental, or, overall mental well-being. Then, I will interview in certain groups also. Then I will observe the team dynamics, what is going on between teams, within the teams. Then I will conduct psychological safety scales. Then there will be stress and burnout scales. So these are certain, assessments that I will conduct as a psychologist in your workplace, to understand what is the current level of psychological safety, and what work I have to put in to create a psychological safe organization. Then train leaders in empathy and active listening. Psychologists conduct training workshops on empathetic communication, non judgmental listening, responding to feedbacks without defensiveness, validating employee experiences. How do you validate the employee experiences? Then offering constructive responses during conflicts. Always and always offer constructive responses if there is a conflict. Using supportive language instead of fear based commands. It would be really helpful. For example, if you want your employees to do something, you actually are like, it would be really helpful if do this much, and or maybe delegate this much of things. I'm really stuck with this work. Instead of saying, you know, do this much of work and submit me in these many hours, and you command it in a wrong way. You can also request. You can also put it in a good manner, just do this much now. That's how you can say. Then design stress management and emotional regulation workshops. Psychologists will design interactive workshops on managing work related stress. How can you manage your stress, work related? How can you keep uh, your stress on a minimal level and still work under pressure? Then coping with workload pressure. Then burnout prevention. How can you prevent the happening burnouts every now and then? Then mindfulness and grounding techniques, where if you have in if you're an anxious person and you keep having those panic attacks a little bit here and there whenever there is a stressful work pressure or whatever stressful day, there will be a mindfulness technique or there will be a grounding technique to get you back from that anxious personality, or maybe the anxious if you haven't have a panic attack. Then there will be a cognitive restructuring workshop for negative thoughts. Whenever if if you're seeing everything negative in an organization, how can you question your negative thoughts and turn it into positive thoughts, and turn it totally into positive thinking? What if the manager is not having a good day and he actually put everything on me? Whenever he calms down, I should go and ask what happened, what was my mistake, if actually it was my mistake, or you just put it out all on me if you were frustrated. So that is how you know the cognitive restructuring for negative thoughts workshop will be there. Then advocate for inclusive policies and safe communication structures. Psychologists can actually help shape systems that prevent fear, bias, and discrimination by advising on DEI policy, creating anonymous reporting channels, then suggesting flexible work policies, promoting gender sensitive and caste sensitive practices. So that is how psychologists, that is how we play a role in organizations. Any questions up till now? Any questions up till now? Anything you would like to say? Anything you would like to, anything you have opinions about? Or maybe share some of the experiences that you are facing currently. Anybody would like to speak up? It would be really nice to make this as an interactive session. Anyone? Okay. Now, as we conclude, psychological safety isn't actually just a feel good factor. It is a strategic foundation for performance, innovation, and mental well being at work. If only people feel safe, then only they will speak up, they will question, they will make mistakes and fail without fear. It's okay, I can start again. It's okay, I can, uh, ask my boss to supervise or ask my boss for opinions, ask anybody for opinions. I can start again. That is how teams learn faster and organizations grow stronger. That is how organizations can feel like a family and you would want to work there. You would like to work there. From Google's innovation culture to Tata's ethical leadership, the message is universal. Workplaces that listen, learn, and respect are the ones that thrive. Building psychological safety is not a one time effort, it is a continuous practice of empathy, openness, and shared trust that shapes the future of healthy work cultures. You know, I was telling you about Wipro, if you remember, in which uh, they understand that psychological safety cannot exist without inclusion. It cannot. Employees who feel marginalized due to gender, sexual identity, or sexual orientation, or identify often hesitate to speak up or participate fully at work. If you're not able to participate fully at work, how are you actually being an active member there? You're just a silent member, right? Hence, they built a culture where diversity is not just an HR policy, but it is actually practiced. It is a core organizational value there. Wipro created Wipro Pride, a comprehensive program supporting LGBTQ plus employees and allies. This includes safe reporting mechanisms. They got the safe reporting mechanisms for discrimination, microaggressions, or hostile behavior. If there, if there is hostile behavior, they're discriminating you, there's microaggressions, you should report it. It is safe to report these mechanisms. Then, mentorship circles where they pair LGBTQ plus employees with trained leaders. So they have certain mentorship, they have certain support. Then there is support groups and employees resource communities. Sensitization workshops are also conducted for employees on gender identity, pronouns, and inclusive behavior. How will you include, these genders, and how will you accept their sexual orientation, or maybe, how what are their pronouns, what do they use, all of that things. They conduct workshops, they have workshops for these employees. Any questions, any opinions, any experiences up till now? Anything?
Just one situation more than a question. So, for example, we
Hmm.
were talking about having the option to question or contradict in a workspace per se. So, for
Hmm.
example, let's say there is workspace A and a new person has joined who
Hmm.
has been given such independence to question about the decisions of the, let's say, the ones who are at a better post than he is for the start. And he does exercise that right, but the suggestions that he did gave, or the questions that he asked, although were answered but were never acted upon. Now there might be their own reasons, like the boss or the CEO, founder, whatever that the tag is, might not have thought of it as the right time for that thing, or he might have different reasons which he can't tell the new joinee yet because of his personal reasons again. How do we, in that situation, kind of tackle the things that's going inside the new joinee's head, who is just thinking that, okay, this is all for show and they're not really listening to me?
Your voice broke in between. Can you repeat that question? I'm so sorry.
Oh, it was a long one, but yeah. Can you tell me which part did you get it till, because it was really long?
No, I couldn't connect the two. There's a group A, there was a group B. Can you repeat that?
No. What I was trying to say is, first let me check. Is my voice good now?
Yeah.
Thank God. Okay. So, for example, there is a workplace A where a new joinee comes and he joins the company. He's starting to work and he is told of that you can contradict even the CEO's opinion if you have something better in mind. And he ends up doing that contradiction and just having like a healthy conversation with his boss, let's say, and he gives a suggestion or an alternative framework, but the boss or the CEO, founder, whatever the tag is, was not able to implement that very day, or even like in a month or 2 months or 6 months time span, because of their personal reasons, because they might have their reasons with respect to the company or the frameworks, whatever, right? And those reasons were not conveyed to the new joinee because he was a new joinee, and not everything can be told to a new joinee. In that case, how do we tackle the new joinee's mind, which is just thinking that my suggestion was not really heard, and it was there, the freedom to contradict was there for the show of it.
Okay. So here, actually, the new joinee can ask, sir, what happened to the situation, and here the communication should be open, should be transparent. There, the new joinee is being told, okay, your suggestion is actually really good, and right now we can not take up this suggestion, or we cannot make the changes right now because of this situation we are facing. And that is how being transparent, being open about the situations, about the certain things. And it shouldn't have to be, if the CEO or the boss, let's take that perspective also, cannot be really open about it, cannot tell you certain things. So he can be just brief about it. There are certain situations going on, and I'm not able to, take up your suggestion or make the particular change that you've asked, but it was actually really good, and I am working on it to make that suggestion, to make that change that you've asked. So that is how the new joinee's suggestion, or the new joinee's mindset is actually heard, is actually valued, and he will also feel really safe. Did you get your answer? Was I, what did I make
Yes,
sense?
that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. anybody else with a situation, with a question, with their experiences happening, and they want to share about it, it is an open platform here if you want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because every yeah.
I can share like a very small situation that I face at my organization like every day, and it somehow relates to psychological safety as well. Is that being a very one of the very younger people, and so I from the first day of my work I started creating boundaries at my workplace, and they were quite rigid, and it was not something that was harming my work or harming someone else, but a boundary that an every employee should have. For example, that I reach my office on time or maybe before time, and I really make sure that I leave on time and not before that. And somehow people, like my manager especially, he has a problem with that. Like, why can't you wait later than that? And there are a lot of times when I have told them that I do not come late, so why should I leave late? And they don't receive it very well. So like, and it comes down to your generation is very young. You guys don't understand. You hum bhi ye karte hai, wo karte hai. All those things that we see on the internet. So this is like one boundary situation that I think I face at workplace, which is quite annoying as well, because making this boundary, leaving on time even half an hour, it means that I have a life outside of work, right? So I think that having that balance is also very important.
It is. It actually is. You're really correct. And I would like to ask you, how do you feel about it? Like, how are you coping up with it, firstly?
I I actually do not uh, mind it very much. I
Mm-hmm.
have a rigid boundary, and I've made sure to let them know that this is something that is non-negotiable. If there is an extreme emergency which requires me to wait later, then I might consider it. But if I'm coming on time, then I'm leaving on time.
That is actually a good boundary that you've made. And everyone should, if possible, do that. Certain managers, uh, do get really cranky about this situation where, why can't you stay till late? But what they don't understand is, we're coming on time, we will leave on time also. If you expect me to come on time, expect me to leave on time also. I am not leaving before that. I am I don't want to, leave after that also. I want to leave on time. If my work is till 6, I will leave at 6. So that is what, training managers, they should also, as I said, be empathetic towards us. They should also listen to us, what we are trying to say. We are trying to be a little professional here. And with professionalism, there is empathy also. You are a human also. You will get tired. You want to, what if the person, the employee is coming from far away? Maybe the person uh, takes 2 hours or maybe 1 hour to reach home. So they want to leave at that point. So that is what, creating that empathy, that safety where you can speak up is there. So yeah, your rhythm, you're doing a really good job by making that boundary. And you know we should actually learn from that, where we're maintaining that boundary from the start. We will leave on time if we're coming on time. If everybody agrees, they can at least react. I guess there are a few chats also. Okay, it is important for each and every person to feel psychologically safe for the organization to work at its best. That is true, Nidhi. It is important for each and every person, even if they are at the topmost position, or even if they are at the junior most position, they should feel psychologically safe so that the organization is able to work and outperform others and be at its best. That is true. Leaders must remember more minds can generate more ideas. That is also true. So that is why your opinions should be valued in an organization. Thank you, for that message, Mr. Wahi. And building on the question by Rhythm Agrawal, how do we deal with the frustration of having a micromanage? Well, I believe again here open communication where you're telling the person, or maybe uh, in the meeting, in the organization, or whoever you're comfortable with, or your manager, that I feel we're being a little micromanaged, and you can frame it in a sense where it sounds good also, and they are able to hear it also. And I believe that every little thing of ours is being managed here, micromanaged here, or being in the limelight, where even if I'm doing one small thing, I have this fear of being judged, or maybe somebody is just trying to be there around me. So why is this happening? Can you tell me more something about this? If if something like this, if something is there I should work on, please let me know. So there should be an open communication regarding this. If you feel that this is something bothering you, micromanaging is definitely feels really wrong, feels really annoying at times, most of the times, not even at times, most of the times, where every little thing is being seen, is being managed, is being pointed out. Why? If there is a mistake, tell us in the meeting, tell us call us and criticize in a positive manner, that instead of this you can do this. So that is how you can manage. Did you get your answer, Miss Nidhi Menon? All right. Anybody else have a question regarding this, or uh, any situation, or maybe an experience you're facing in your organization, and I can help you with it? Anything, anyone. No, nothing. Nobody wants to. Nobody has problems in their with their organizations, or nobody has those managers who you want to talk about. See, listen, this is a very safe space, and you can actually talk about anything. And you know, even I have faced a lot of these things. I'll maybe, let's start with me this time. I have also faced a lot of things where I was overworking in my organization, and I was actually working for 10 to 12 hours being a psychologist, where I only have to work according to my, ethical guidelines. I only have to work for 5 to 6 hours a day. But I was working for 10 to 12 hours a day, taking 10 to 12 sessions a day. And I couldn't say no because I wanted to impress my boss. And I felt I will not, be heard, or maybe they will cut my salary. What will I do? What if that happens? What if this happens? I faced a lot of these things. And in the end, I became so frustrated that I had to leave the job without, mentioning these points. You know, also, I was like, I was just being very silent about all the problems that I was facing, and I was crying constantly without anybody's notice. That did not help me or the organization. And it was not just me, it was a lot of people who were facing that, but nobody dared to speak up. What if they fire me? What if they don't give me my salary? What if this happens? What if that happens? But now, when I think about it, what if I had spoken about it? What if they actually heard me and made few changes in their organization? So let's not, think about what ifs later, and let's start speaking up. What do you think? Should we be speaking up more now in our organizations? Should we be more openly communicate in a very respectful manner and not be like, I want to become a satyagrahi? No, don't do that. Be very respectful with what you're doing, what you're saying, and tell them, I am facing this issue. Can we just address it a little here? I would love to. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. We should have reasonable boundaries so that no one is harmed. Yes, definitely, Miss Mellon. This is actually true. Having reasonable boundaries is not something, to be ashamed about. Tell them, these were the hours I was being told to work, maybe 10 to 6, 10 to 7. That's it. Why should I work from 10 in the morning to 9, 10 in the evening? That is over exploitation, and I'm not feeling psychologically safe. I feel emotionally drained. If you have something to discuss, please go ahead, Mr. Wahi. Anything, if you have, to discuss. Everybody must be, most of us, or maybe most of you guys, must be using Spotify to listen to music, right? Yes. Spotify is something, you know, most of us use. They also have this thing called as quad model, where team members feel free to challenge ideas. It's a it's like small cross-functional teams, which works only when team members feel free to challenge the ideas. They use, these retrospective meetings, which are, safe spaces to discuss what went wrong and right after whatever they are doing, after whatever changes they are getting in Spotify, after whatever sprint they are making, which in turn actually encouraged learning culture, which Microsoft also used. Learn it all culture, learn it all mindset, which in turn resulted in faster innovation cycles and then less burnout, less emotional fallouts, and literally uh, protected the trust between the employees and the organizations. So, this is also one of the examples. We all know Spotify, we all use Spotify. So, that is also a company which, you know, uh, promotes open communication. So, yeah. So, what insights have you gotten, and did you all like the session? And if you want me to improve on anything, you can. I am up for criticisms, I am up for feedbacks. Well, even I need feedback reviews to improve on anything. Anyone? How was the session? Was it insightful?
Yeah, I mean, the session was quite informative actually. There were a lot of points that I think were quite relatable for me as well in terms of the place that I work, and I like the waves. I mean, it was really nice. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Any criticism you want to give? Anything? Any feedback that I can improve on?
Just keep doing more workshops that we can attend, I think,
Thank you so much.
that are as
I shall work
relatable as
on that.
this.
I shall work on that. Thank you all in the comments. It was really, nice conducting this workshop. And, even I got to know a lot of things happening around the world, a lot of, you know, even I did not know a lot of companies that were promoting all of these open communications, all, even I was actually, I got awareness and I was able to speak up about it. And I loved doing this session. Actually, you guys were a great audience, and it was amazing being here. And I was really honored, Leo Club, for being here. Thank you so much for inviting me and letting me do this workshop, this seminar, and letting me give this presentation on psychological safety at workplace. I believe everyone should be aware about psychological safety so that we can work properly in an organization. We can give our best. Thank you, everyone. Uh, Thank you, Sri Lanka, for being here and hosting me.